going down the drain.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And now, live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unapologetic, brought to you by Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. Straight off the ledge, it's JD and Smitty!
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96K Rock. The phone lines are open, 239-277-9600 or 239-775-9600. Catch us on streaming live video on theledgeradioshow.com. Check out the Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. I'd like to thank our AV department, Tripod Billy behind the glass, and our producer, Sick Rick. Smitty, what's up, man?
Boy, a big week this week. A whole bunch of stuff broke loose. And before we get into it, I do want to thank our sponsors. D Squared Construction with Kevin Dwyer. If you need your stuff fixed at your house, he's the guy to call. Cruise One. If you're looking to just say heck with the house and take a cruise, Katie Bachman out there, give her a call. And, of course, I want to give a major shout-out to my barber out there at Doug's Barbershop, which I told him.
Thanks, Smitty.
and, of course, Guitar Center, because Travis always hooks me up. So
that's right. You know what? And speaking of, you left my guitar in the shop the other day. You got to take it in and get it restrung.
I'll let Travis take a look at it.
All right. Well, back in studio with us today is U.S. congressional candidate Byron Donalds, and new to the K-Rock studio is U.S. congressional candidate Joe Davidow. Guys, I want to thank you both for coming in. I know it's been a hot topic week. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, we got to give you the official.
Oh,
That's it from me. That's as nice as I'll be to you.
I don't know. I think by the end of the show, you might be coming around.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Guys, this was a landmark week. We had several things come down. We had the Fast and Furious deal with Eric Holder. We had that the vote in Congress for contempt. But the biggest item of the week was the Supreme Court ruling on Obamacare. And Byron, I know I talked to
and the immigration thing.
A lot of things. I talked to Jamie earlier this week, and wanted to get you in here to kind of talk on that. And I'm almost at a loss for words, but I know you're not. So please take us up on this.
Yeah, I was furious initially when I heard the ruling.
Were you fast and furious?
Yes, and then some. I mean, listen, this ruling basically, in my opinion, does one thing. It increases the taxing power for the Congress, unlike anything we've ever seen before. I don't think that any framer or any signer onto the Constitution would have ever allowed the Congress to be able to tax inactivity. I think that's where we are right now. It increases that power tenfold. It's really a reckless decision, in my opinion. I know some people are very excited because they feel it's going to galvanize the Republican base, but I think it does far more damage to our republic, because now the Congress has the ability to tax you, like Alan West said last night, for not owning a 9mm handgun. It has the power to tax you if you don't open a brokerage account with Goldman Sachs. I mean, if you really think about the implications of this kind of decision.
They can tax you. They can tax you for anything they feel necessary.
Absolutely. I had a conversation the other night when I was in Cape Coral. Actually with Jim Roach, the Democrat in this race. And I basically asked him, I said, does the Congress, under the taxing clause, have the ability to create all kind of unenumerated, unconstitutional fiefdoms? And that's basically what that decision on the court allowed, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Joe, what do you think, man?
How much time you got?
Well, are you done, Joe? Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I look at it a very different way. I mean, this is my bread and butter. This is why I exist. I am a constitutional conservative. I am an attorney. This is my practice area. I mean, this is my sweet spot. I've read enough U.S. Supreme Court opinions. I can't go on to say my experience level in the nature of what's going on here. And so when I initially heard the decision, I knew the headlines were going to be a whole load of BS. The headlines were nonsense. The Supreme Court does not uphold Obamacare. That's not exactly what occurred at all whatsoever. In fact, I think it's misleading. And so I sat down, I read the 193 pages, and I mean, to the extent of the mental gymnastics that Roberts went through, his decision was, I think, in some respects, incredible. Because what we're looking at here...
I know, I was shocked.
Well,
me too,
yeah,
man.
And, well, I mean, you have to... And let me come in the outset. Would I have been happier if he just struck it down? Yes. However, and let's really get into this, I can draw the parallel of me saying to you, let's get in a foot race. We're going to have a running race, right? And so we take off and we start running. And you start to get ahead. I fall back a little bit. And then, you feel like you've won. You beat me. And then when you go back, you realize your car isn't there, your house isn't there, anything that else you've owned is no longer there. It's all gone, yet you feel like you won the race. So in essence, what Roberts has really done here is he's put handcuffs on the young liberal justices, Sotomayor and Kagan, requiring them to say that no longer can this be a Commerce Clause issue.
That's true.
No longer can this be necessary and proper under the general welfare. He's relegated it to the minor portion of it being solely a tax, even in which he's incorrect, knowingly incorrect. And then he's laid out the groundwork in the dissent. So doing three things that I think are just vital to the conservative movement here. One of which is, he said, look, this is just a tax, pointing to us saying, get rid of the stupid tax code, right? If we do, it's gone.
That's true.
Two, right? He gave you in the dissent the direct way, if we don't repeal it, he gave the conservatives the direct way in the dissent on how to go about in 2014 after you pay the penalty, which it is, on how to then bring it before the Supreme Court and get it kicked. Okay? So that's laid out in the dissent. You can file again after you get penalized because it's a penalty, not really a tax when you read the dissent. And three, he's galvanized the conservative base. He's told the conservative base, don't expect the Supreme Court to help you. And so, in essence,
you've got to fix it yourselves by electing the right people.
And so when you sit back and you look at this at the forest level, Roberts isn't an idiot. In fact, he's a genius. And I disagree with his principles. He went outside conservative constitutional principles, in my opinion, to do a severe disservice to this kind of socialistic grabbing on a federal government level.
What do you think about that, Byron? I mean, I think that sounds like it might hold water.
It does hold water with respect to the Commerce Clause and the necessary and proper. I did see those parts of the opinion. I agree with Joe on that. My number one concern is I never underestimate the liberals to use the law in any way, shape, or form in the future. Right now we have a very excited base, if you will. I think the base is probably more excited than they were in 2010 at this point. But the question is not so much today or 12 or even 2014. It's 2020. Well, it's 2025.
We're not a law company here. We don't know all the laws, and like Joe was saying, you can debate the law per se.
Yeah.
But whatever happened to just doing the right thing? Whatever happened to say, hey, we have people in this country, we got to take care of them.
But
we got to remember, we're not the country that has the greatest health care, although we like to think we do. We really don't. There's a lot of countries that do, and they have a health care system that works.
But
Switzerland, Finland, Sweden, a lot of them have them. Germany.
Go there for your health care.
I want to make sure.
If we didn't have one here.
You got to make sure you understand one thing. The purpose of federal law is not to make things fair.
You just touched on it, Byron. That's just it.
That's not the purpose of federal law. The purpose of federal law is to lay a firm groundwork and a firm foundation so people can decide in commerce what is fair and what is equitable.
So what you're saying is you can't mandate morality.
No, you can't.
Point somewhere into the Constitution where it says we're going to sit down and look at this law and see if it's good.
I look in the Bible and says I got to take care of people.
But
you know what I'm saying? I don't need a law book to tell me that these guys are saying, hey, you know what? You can't afford it. You're just a low rent guy out there that's struggling. Guess what? Tough luck. Tough break, man.
Your own opinion. You've actually just critically wounded your own standpoint by saying I look to the Bible. Okay, so then go ahead and slam the Bible on everybody else across this country. You know what? Marriage between a man and a woman only. Go ahead, slam the Bible
I
on
believe
everybody.
That's a man and woman too.
But the point is, then you're not even a liberal anymore. I told you by the end of the show you'd be on our side. I mean, realistically, there's no way that you could come around and look at this and say, on a federal level, not on a state level, on a federal level, we're going to look at law and say, is this good? That's ridiculous.
Hey, you know what? You guys had a chance. You put Bush in here. What happened? He gave you guys who?
There we go, another Bush
He gave you Roberts. Now, Roberts was the deciding vote. Your own guy decided with the liberals. So you're right. He was a smart guy. I agree with you.
I told you what he just did.
I agree with you, Joe.
You finished the race. You're spiking the football, and now you go home and you realize there's nothing in your house.
It sounds like sour grapes, Joe. You just got burned, and that's how it is.
You know what? That's I can't even argue with Smitty on this. Here's what it can help us do, though.
277-9600 or 775-9600.
Thanks, Smitty.
If you guys want to slam these two guys, call in. It's 275.
Sure. So the court stressed in its opinion that refusal to comply with the mandate will result in a tax. Now, one thing that remember when George Bush, the first HW, he got voted out of office essentially because he said, "Read my lips," no new taxes. Well, President Obama has essentially said the same thing without using the phrase "read my lips." I'm not going to tax the middle class. The middle class will not get taxed on my watch. Have you guys seen the amount of taxes that are going to be increased with this federal mandate?
Yeah, there are 21 new taxes in the bill. But listen, here's the problem. The taxes don't come in. They don't fall into play until after the election.
Well, that's convenient. That's convenient.
That's the difference between HW and what Obama's doing. Secondly, I mean, HW's base is conservatives. That's not Barack Obama's base. So they're viewing it as a victory for egalitarianism, if you will, for equality, and not looking at the implications from a tax perspective. One real quick thing. In this decision, it also allows, and this is where I slightly disagree with Joe. I understand what Joe's saying. Don't get me wrong, I do. But I slightly disagree because now the Congress can pass legislation calling things penalties and fees, knowing that the court is going to uphold them as taxes. They don't even have to say to the American people, we're going to tax you for X. They could just say, hey, this is just a penalty if you don't do something. And so that changes the wording, and it changes the articulation in political arguments going forward.
It just opens up, makes it so ambiguous. They can do whatever they want.
In my opinion, that's what it does.
Do you agree with that, Joe?
Not necessarily. I do agree with you from the standpoint that it appears that it's open, but you have to realize that when courts go to look at an issue, they try to keep the issue as narrow as possible, as limited as possible. And so when and I might have been just speaking out and not fully explaining it, but when I say that they open up this decision to show the preventative clause so that you actually have to pay the penalty first in describing how that goes, what he's doing is laying out the textbook on how to break down, how to win in front of his court on suing after you've received the penalty as a result of this bill.
So you get that penalty, now you can take it to the court.
Yes, and not only are you going to win, you're going to win as a result of the dissent in the playbook that was written by Scalia, Alito, Thomas, and Kennedy.
Okay.
They just told you how to call it.
I was really surprised at the comment by Kennedy.
It's a playbook.
Really surprised. I mean, he had such a conservative comment. I couldn't believe it. I was pleased with that, but again, on the surface, very displeased with
absolutely
with the way it came out.
Well, and that's just it. You know, for me, look, when I come out and I read what he did, I'm saying, you know, he's gone away from the principles of that you do exactly what's right. And I think, in essence, he's kind of taken somewhat of an extrajudicial action to do more damage to this kind of liberal mindset that the federal government, and remind me, I'm saying federal, that the federal government can have this overreaching effect. And so because he was so conservative, he wanted to do more damage to it. And then he provided us the opportunities to say, not only can we completely rechange the tax code, he's focused the structure on that.
So you think he's looking at longer term than what we saw initially on the surface from day one?
Because here's the thing. Taxes, you don't need a constitutional amendment to change taxes. You need a constitutional amendment to change Commerce Clause issues or necessary and proper issues. And so what he's done is basically hogtied these new liberal justices and saying, wait a second, if new arguments come back before the court, all the attorneys have to do is say, Your Honor.
We've already set precedent. You can't do this with Commerce.
You yourself has already said this with Commerce.
That's true.
You yourself has already said this under necessary and proper.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. I think the biggest issue was just on the surface, man, it looks so bad. I mean, and going back to what Byron said a few minutes ago about and I brought up the fact that I think that if the conservatives campaign correctly, they can definitely use the Obama words against him on the tax issue. And I want to go to a quick audio cut. Cut one, sick Rick. This is an interview with George Stephanopoulos from 2009. With Barack Obama at the time. Cut one, please.
Probably the most definitive promise you made in the campaign is that no one in the middle class would get a tax increase on your watch. Yet this week, Senator Rockefeller, several other Democrats say that this bill by Senator Baucus is a big middle class tax increase. Do you agree, and does that mean you can't sign it?
Well, I don't agree.
He doesn't agree. He doesn't agree that it's not a tax increase. And yet the Supreme Court could only approve Obamacare by calling it a tax.
And I think, Joe, I completely understand Joe's argument. I do. My issue is that I don't trust liberal justices to follow Robert's opinion. Joe's the lawyer here. Don't get me wrong. He's the lawyer. I'm not. But I tell? I never trust.
I'm stunned.
I never trust liberal justices
not yet. We'll see
that.
November.
I don't trust them to follow that opinion.
I don't trust any politics.
I look at them to twist the opinion in some way, shape, or form in the future to try to find some way to do it. I understand he put them in a box, but I just don't put it past.
Sometimes you just got to do the right thing, guys. I know you guys.
The right thing doesn't mean making the government pay for your medical through my taxes.
You guys always claim that you want to do what's good and what's right and what's legal and all that, but until it costs you money, then you guys back off and have every reason in the world not to help somebody because it's going to cost you money. Because it's going to. Hey, healthcare isn't cheap. I got news for you, and it's already costing millions of dollars to pay for people that have no health insurance that are going in now every day, going into the hospitals, illegal aliens, people that are legal here. Everybody's getting health care, and we're paying for it now. So this argument that suddenly it's expensive, it's going to be expensive. We've come to the. And let me tell you something. I don't agree with everything that Obama has in this plan. I don't agree with it.
Because he hasn't read it.
But you know what? The guy had guts enough to put it in there. The guy had guts enough to put it in there and say, you know what? You've dilly-dallied with this for year after year after year after year, and we're tired of it, and I'm going to jam it down your throat now. And you know what? You don't like it? Then you should have done something with it way back when you had people in office. You should have done something when you had the Republicans. You should have done something when you had Bush 1. You didn't, and now you're stuck with it.
Hey, Smitty, your mom's calling.
A couple of things. Number one, it's not courageous on the part of the president to have a huge power grab in healthcare. If he wanted to be courageous, he would have done the appropriate thing and allowed the marketplace to actually develop a healthcare policy. Second thing, it is not, and like we said earlier, hold on a second, but like I said before, it's not the purpose of federal law to do the right thing. The president just unilaterally changed immigration policy to quote unquote do the right thing. That's lawlessness. That's not courageous. That's lawlessness.
I disagree.
Here's my question for you now. Here's my question. Based upon his refusal to enforce DOMA, based upon his willingness to use executive orders to change immigration law, if Mitt Romney's the next president, does he now have the authority to use executive orders to basically not enforce and not implement Obamacare? I mean, this is the problem with the presidency that we're going through right now.
Just sign it out of
Does he
law?
now have that authority? Now, people on the left would say that's outrageous.
Byron, you gonna let me get after
Does he have
Go ahead.
Joe, does he have? Hey, Joe,
Joe,
does he have the authority legally? Does Obama? I mean, Romney have?
Absolutely not. No. And here's the point. You ready? Hold on, Smitty, and I'm going to use this. You actually think it's okay that the president told Arizona, yeah, go ahead, give us a call. We're not going to pick up.
No, I didn't say Arizona. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm talking about health care, Joe. Stay on topic.
No.
Stay on topic.
You talked about immigration.
Byron brought up immigration.
He brought up immigration.
And then you said that he passed his executive order or whatever he was going
That's
to say.
That's another. Health care is different than immigration.
Well, hold on.
Let's talk about one or the other, Joe. We're talking about health care.
Okay, you ready? Hold on. Here's one. Is it okay for the president in the bill, before it passes in Congress, to tell the Stupak Democrats, don't worry about it, guys. I'm going to sign an executive order that says no federal funding will go to abortion. Is that okay?
I don't know if that's okay. It doesn't sound like it's okay.
You know what, Smitty? It made me want to run on the floor with my shirt off, all right, on Congress.
I would love to see that.
That wouldn't be okay either, Joe.
And here's the point. Here's simply the point. And I do that to get you up, to get your thoughts going.
Oh, it does. It's a visual, believe me.
Everyone, hey, I'm sexy and I know it, Smitty.
I'll tell you.
All right, listen. No, the point is simply
got a Sandusky hug coming your way.
The point is simply this, right? That the president, and there's every attorney, they had advisors that told him that an executive order cannot constitutionally override something that has been directly written in a bill passed by Congress. Cannot. It's non-functional. So you had the majority of the support from your liberal side supporting this bill under a ruse. Mm-hmm. That's how you got it through Congress.
We learn from you guys.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, here we go.
A cyclical argument that makes no sense. It's Smitty, I'm telling you, give me another 20 minutes. We're going to have you be a conservative.
All right,
we'll see.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and
Absolutely.
when we get back, everybody give us a call, 277-9600, 775-9600. Thanks.
Find out where 96K Rock will be next. 96K Rock is constantly hitting the streets.
And you never know what you can win. Custom K-Rock t-shirts, concert tickets, sports tickets, and more.
Plus, you'll always get a cold 96K Rock custom labeled bottled water from Hoosier Wawa. To order, personal or business, 1 case minimum, call 403-WAWA.
For more information and to find out where we'll be next, visit 96krock.com.
Honey, I've got a surprise for you.
Really?
We're going on a cruise. I called Cruise One in the Cape and spoke to Katie Bachman. She hooked us up. We're going first class on the Norwegian Pearl for a 7-night Caribbean cruise getaway.
Man, I'll be relaxing on the deck and sipping on those umbrella drinks.
That's okay for you, honey, but I'll be getting lean and fit. This cruise offers more than 20 hours of personal training fun with Joe Pearson. I'll be learning about nutrition and exercise, and all from a certified personal trainer. It's the best of both worlds. When you cruise Norwegian style, you do more than just eat and drink. You can get in shape and have the time of your life.
This is an exclusive offer for June only. Norwegian Pearl in our Seafit Group package for friends and family. So call me and get the skinny details. I'll explain all package and special offers. Life is too short, so get away and enjoy it. Go in style, Norwegian style.
Call Katie at Cruise One on 239-677-3005. That's 239-677-3005. Or visit our website at kbachman.cruiseone.com.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2 000046.
When it comes to finding a reliable general contractor, you need to pick someone with a solid background and a good reputation. D Squared Construction gives you all that and more. They are family owned and operated and stand behind every project. Quality workmanship and satisfaction to the customer has made them one of the premier contractors in Southwest Florida since 2004. Small residential renovations to large commercial projects, they do it all. And they do it all well. Your projects are much too important to trust just anyone. D Squared Construction will come to your house or commercial project and give you a free on-site estimate. Call Kevin Dwyer at 239-561-4108. That's 239-561-4108 for a free consultation and some good sound advice. They won't waste your time or your money. D Squared Construction, when it needs to get done right.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. The phone numbers are 239-277-9600 for the listeners out of the 239 area code. Check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. And we've got U.S. Congressional Reps Byron Donalds and Joe Davidow in studio arguing with us about the Obamacare ruling from the Supreme Court. And I want to go to an audio cut from the Stephanopoulos interview back in 2009 with Obama. Cut 2, Sick Rick, please.
You were against the individual mandate during the campaign. Under this mandate, the government is forcing people to spend money, fining you if you don't. How is that not a tax?
Well, hold on a second, George. Here's what's happening. You and I are both paying $900 on average, our families, in higher premiums because of uncompensated care. Now, what I've said is that if you can't afford health insurance, you certainly shouldn't be punished for that. That's just piling on. If, on the other hand, we're given tax credits, we've set up an exchange, you are now part of a big pool, we've driven down the costs, we've done everything we can, and you actually can afford health insurance, but you just decided, you know what, I want to take my chances. And then you get hit by a bus, and you and I have to pay for the emergency room care.
That may be, but it's still a tax increase.
That's not true, George. For us to say that you've got to take a responsibility to get health insurance is absolutely not a tax increase. What it's saying is that we're not going to have other people carrying your burdens for you, any more than the fact that right now everybody in America just about has to get auto insurance. Nobody considers that a tax increase. People say to themselves, that is a fair way to make sure that if you hit my car, that I'm not covering all the costs.
But it may be fair, it may be good public policy.
No, but George, you can't just make up that language and decide that that's called a tax increase. If I say that right now your premiums are going to be going up by 5 or 8 or 10% next year, and you say, well, that's not a tax increase, But on the other hand, if I say that I don't want to have to pay for you not carrying coverage even after I give you tax credits that make it affordable, then...
I don't think I'm making it up. Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Tax, a charge usually of money imposed by authority on persons or property for public purposes.
George, the fact that you looked up Merriam's dictionary, the definition of tax increase, indicates to me that you're stretching a little bit right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gone to the dictionary to check on the definition.
Well, no.
I mean, if what you're saying is...
I wanted to check for myself, but your critics say it is a tax increase.
My critics say everything's a tax increase. My critics say that I'm taking over every sector of the economy. Correct. You know that. Look, we can have a legitimate debate about whether or not we're going to have an individual mandate or not. But
you reject that it's a tax increase.
I absolutely reject that notion.
Did you hear that?
Sounds like a tax increase to me.
I absolutely reject that notion that's a tax increase. And immediately, even as soon as yesterday, the Obama administration comes out trying to spin it that, it's not a tax. It's not a tax. What are they calling it?
I'm sure Smitty's response is just going to be, "Hey, we got to just see if it's good."
My response is that Judge Roberts saw it as what he saw it, and he voted on the liberal side.
As a tax. He saw it as a tax.
And he's a lot smarter than all of us. So
I tried to already explain to you that his decision was anything but liberal.
Look, the Chief Justice came into the conclusion that the mandate was constitutional as a tax after finding that it was, in fact, a legal command to buy health insurance. Rather, it makes going without insurance just another thing that the government taxes, like buying gasoline or earning income, he said. And that was in his...
It's been relegated to a minor area that is like a gnat, on the tuchus of an elephant as a tax.
Smitty, I want to disagree with one thing you said about buying gasoline and paying a tax on it.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. That's not what this does. This is now saying if you do not... It's basically saying if you don't buy gasoline, we're going to tax you anyway.
What's it's basically saying is if you don't have health insurance, and a lot of people don't, 50 million Americans don't have health insurance.
That's actually not true, but continue.
Okay, 30 to 40, 50 million, I don't know how
many.
much.
Well, when 30 million of them are illegal, you can't count them anyway.
That's another thing. That's another whole issue with the illegals. But if you have a lot of people that have no health insurance and they still go to the hospital, somebody has to pay for it. And so instead of just taxing it, not taxing, but throwing it on us as paying for it anyhow with higher rates and all the other stuff, they're just going to tax it now, as you said.
Can I have a moment to debunk the president on a couple of things?
Please do.
Number one, there aren't 30 million or 40 million or 50 million uninsured. The long-term uninsureds in the country are about 8 million people. Most of those people who don't have insurance are young people who choose not to insure themselves because they don't see the purpose in it. The second thing is the president said in his comments that he doesn't want people to have to carry the burden because of uncompensated care going to emergency rooms. The transition of cost for people who go to emergency rooms is 2% of the overall health insurance market. The real problem with cost shifting is Medicare and Medicaid because the government undercuts the private system as it exists. And that is the bulk of the transfer cost, if you will, to the private health insurance market. Hold on. No,
I'm going to agree with you. I agree with you. The problem is the insurance companies. They're the problem.
No. Medicare and Medicaid shifts costs to the private insurance market. Remember that, because they're half of the insurance market today. A couple things, other things he said. He says he doesn't want people to have to be carrying the burdens for people who go to private health insurance, who go to health hospitals with no insurance. However, he is now imposing that everybody carries the burden for other people.
And now instead of some, he's going to say everybody now has to carry the burden.
We don't want people to have to carry that burden, so now we're going to impose it on everybody that they have to carry that burden. The last thing is to justify his argument for what he wants to do. He's making 5 different assumptions. He's saying somebody who wants to be bulletproof, who doesn't want to take care of themselves, who might walk down the street and then get hit by a bus. That's not fair to everybody else. This man is assuming he has the logic and he has the mental capacity to understand individual purchase decisions, individual judgmental decisions about how they're going to live their lives to then impose a national health care scheme on everybody. He's not smart enough to do this. Nobody in Washington is. That's why the thing is 2,700 pages and nobody still knows what this thing is fully going to do. And that's why it's going to be a disaster on private health insurance.
Hey, Joe, before I get to you,
I know what it's going to do, though, Byron. It's going to go away.
How's it going to affect state to state? How's it going to affect state to state? That's what I want to find out.
I got something that'll help Smitty real quick. The individual. Here we go. The individual mandate for dummies. No thanks. I do not wish to purchase that pack of gum. Okay, tax on that will be $2.35. There you go. I don't want to buy the gum. Well, here's the tax anyway.
And that's just it. That's exactly what the opinion lays out as the groundwork on how to destroy the bill if it doesn't get repealed by the
That's my whole point. You're paying for it
Congress.
anyways. That's my whole point. You're paying for it anyways. So all he's doing is bringing it to the forefront and saying,
you know,
now you're really going to pay for it.
But hold on, even again, let me just take this back. The driver's license scheme, Schmitty, right? What this comes down to very simply.
Driver's license.
Yeah, like where they say, oh, well, you got to have insurance if you're going to get a driver's license, this kind of thing. It's because the states adopted.
So how are the states going to handle this insurance now?
And this was the spin I was going to give you. Bachman's putting together a team with a couple other people telling the states don't do anything.
I asked Smitty about that yesterday, and I said, what happens if we don't do anything?
Don't do anything. Now, Smitty, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know.
You
You're
mean
a
if the
lawyer.
states
You tell
don't
me.
implement it?
I'm going to hire a lawyer if that happens.
I'm certain you're probably against it.
Yeah, I just think everybody should understand that everybody's in this together. We got to come to a solution. I don't like all the things that I've been reading about it, but at least it's a forward step to doing something.
Oh, it's forward, all
you know.
right.
And I know the people that have all the money and have all the chips and the coins. They like it. They like the rules. They like the regulations. But there's a lot of people out there suffering, and I'm not going to sit here and chuckle when I got some guy who needs a heart operation or a kid who needs an operation or something, and go, oh well, it's just not in the plan today. Can't help you, bro.
That's not what's happening.
That is what's happening.
No, it's not.
That is, and all your lawyer jargon and bull-ass is just that. That's all it is. It's a bunch of stuff where you can say it's legally not to help. We can legally not help you. You know, there's a lot of things on the books, Joe, that are legal.
Just let them
There's
run
a
its course,
lot of
Joe.
things that
He'll
are
get it
legal
out.
and a lot of things that you can spew till the cows come home. The bottom line is, it's not right. Do what's right, Joe. If you don't have to do what's right, then
You know what?
So it's right to make me buy
It's right to
insurance.
help
Hey,
people.
Smitty, I think Fidel Castro tried to do what's right.
They got good health insurance over there.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure he tried to do what's right. You know what?
They're not
Joseph
so bad.
Stalin. Joseph Stalin. You know
Russia's
what?
got
He
good
did
health
what's right,
insurance
Smitty.
care out there.
When you
Let him
start
talk.
arguing facts and you start
Stalin.
jumping on things that have absolutely nothing to do with the law that's based on the federal Constitution, you know what you're telling me? You have no clue
I'm
what's
telling
going
you
on.
that health
You have no
care.
basis of
I'm telling you that
argument
health
whatsoever.
I
care
love that, Joe.
has
No
to
clue.
be done here. It has to be taken care of here. Nobody did it. Nobody wanted to do it. Everybody placated to the insurance companies.
We already heard this.
The problem
And,
is it's on a federal level. We're not arguing
but
with
you just said the
on-
states aren't going to do anything.
No. You're missing the whole point. I'm saying I was drawing a parallel for you, as in when the federal government goes back to the states and tells states to do X or Y and not do it, and it has no basis in law. It's not right. It's never right. There needs to be a basis in law under the Constitution for the federal government to act.
I think
if your state, Smitty, if you live here in the state of Florida and they want to impose the most communistic, ridiculous form of healthcare ever in the state of Florida, you know what? I don't know where it exists that they couldn't do that.
Is it communistic or is it socialistic? I mean, you seem to believe.
What
you're
he's-
like
no,
him.
what he's saying-
You tied the two together, socialism and communism.
Smitty, what he's saying is that the states can make those. They can make those decisions, and you, as a citizen of the state, can decide to move somewhere else if you don't like
That's
it.
right.
When the federal government makes it a law, we all have to. You can't get away unless you move to another country.
I got some horrible news. The
Byron, I know you wanted to chime in on
Supreme
this.
Court
Smitty.
sided with me.
Smitty.
You want a muzzle for
How
him?
do you fix health insurance? How do you really fix health care? Do you do it by a one-size-fits-all program? Is that really going to fix the problem when healthcare is such a unique situation?
It is a unique situation.
So
It's very complex.
So you cannot fix it with a bureaucratic, top-down, authoritative scheme like Obamacare. You have to do it with a dynamic, innovative marketplace where everybody can operate in that marketplace seeking their own interests. You talked about how everybody's capitulated to the health insurance companies. The reason why health insurance is a problem, we talked about this the last time I was here. The problem is the delivery of health insurance. You, Smitty, are not buying health. Let me finish.
So do you think the problem is insurance companies?
Let him finish.
You are not buying health insurance. I am not buying health insurance. Joe is not buying health insurance. K-Rock is buying health insurance. Bank of America is buying health insurance. Jim's Auto Body Shop is buying health insurance. And so we do not have a dynamic enough marketplace that controls and lowers the cost of care. If the more you centralize that problem, the more the cost of insurance is going to go up. Under the president's own plan, the cost of health insurance policies has already gone up 20 to 30%.
Mine went up 40% this year.
Thank you. Because of no lifetime cap and keeping people on plans till they're 26 years old. And no, they're not children at the age of 24. Sorry, they're not children. When these
They're
other
still people that need help.
Listen to what I'm saying, though, Smitty. When these other mandates come into play, the cost of health insurance will continue to rise. Now, let me ask you, what's quality care? Massively expensive care that's low in quality? Or low-cost care that's high in quality because of an innovative and dynamic marketplace? There has been no marketplace in health insurance and health care in 80 years in America. 80 years. It has not existed because businesses are buying health insurance, because government is providing health care.
It says a lot about this country.
The problem
when all the third world countries are out there and they're just have no health insurance, then you have the real countries like Germany, like we saw Finland, and all these.
You didn't mention
the cost of care in those countries.
Canada.
The cost of care in those countries continues to rise.
We're the only country in the world.
Their quality has diminished. Smith, you're making my point for me. The cost of care in Europe and in Canada has continued to rise, and the quality has diminished. Just because I can give everybody insurance doesn't mean I'm giving them quality care. And the only way you can have quality care or a quality anything is when it is in an innovative, free market, voluntary exchange marketplace. And that does not exist in healthcare today. It didn't exist in healthcare before Obamacare. It didn't exist in healthcare at any point in time.
Does it exist anywhere in the world?
Since World War II.
Does it exist anywhere in the world?
No, it does not, because everybody's looking at the situation the wrong way. They are not using the principles of the market system to provide the best possible product at the lowest possible price.
I think the problem is still the insurance companies.
You know,
Joe, go ahead, buddy.
When we created this country, right? Did we base our model off of every other European country because that was really the best? We wanted to live under a king or a monarch. I mean, did we base it off of that model?
I don't think healthcare was a problem
hold
back there, Joe.
Hold on. I'm going to tie you up here, Smitty. Did we base it off of that model? The answer is no. You believe that the United States is the greatest country in the existence of
I believe
mankind.
it could be even better.
Okay, so this is my point simply. Why do you continually want to look at other countries for their systems of healthcare when we are far superior to the other countries in the beginning?
We're not far superior, Joe. We're not far superior. There's a lot of countries that have really good health care, and I was looking it up.
First off,
there is Switzerland, you have Germany, you have
I have a friend from
a lot of
Norway.
places. Wait a second, Joe. I understand that when you dilute the actual people that go in, and you've got more people to be taken care of. I understand that it's going to dilute the care, but at the same time, what we've done in the past has not helped. It's not helped us. We've got to do something, Joe. We got to sit there and say, well,
we're
not
something wrong isn't better.
We've already been doing something wrong for the last 20, 30 years.
Can I curse on the radio?
Try not to too much.
Yeah, try not to.
I know you
watch
want to.
Major League?
Yes.
You remember how he said, I want to stay around? I'm going to do it here in a second, so whoever your bleep button is. You know, he said, I'm for wasting sports writers' time. I remember everything I hear. Yeah, was the quote from from the manager. He goes, I'm for wasting sports writers' time. I say we stick around and give them all a nice big shit burger.
Nice.
Right? Basically, Smitty, what you got is no longer health care. You got a nice big, there you go. All right, so by relegating it to a tax, not only is it not a single-payer system, it's just a tax with the private industry still sitting around. You're going to have people, like Byron said, that don't want to buy insurance because they don't think it's a good idea as they're healthy. There's no reason for them to buy health insurance at this point.
We all are in it together.
Yeah, but
we're
this is
all
not
in it
the
together.
World, Smitty. You know, we're not saying
you can't separate and pick and choose and cherry pick and
it's
say,
not about
because
cherry
one
picking.
day, Joe, you may be high on the hog right now, but the time may come, my friend, when you look in the mirror and you're 70, 80 years old or have a health issue and you don't have all the
Smitty,
wherewithal.
and
then you're saying, oh, what do I do now? That's the point.
JD tried to tell you.
That's
JD
the
tried to
point.
explain to you very simply. We live in a country that has a federal constitution. The states are sovereign. And so the point is simply this. If you want your ridiculous health care, go to your state legislature and do everything you can to get it. Stay out of the federal government.
But here's some breaking news. The Supreme Court ruled in my favor.
Oh my God!
That's why I
sorry,
told you in the
Joe.
beginning.
Sorry, Joe. 5-4 vote. 5-4, Joe. Sour grapes. Wah wah wah. All the way home.
You made a point that we're all in this together.
We are.
We're all in this together. Listen. This country was never created to coerce everybody to do one thing. That's not the purpose of this nation.
That's a good point, Byron.
The purpose of this nation is not to coerce everybody to do one singular thing. And that is the problem with this law and, frankly, with a lot of things that Washington does. We are coercing people to do one thing, whether it be for philanthropic reasons, whether it be to have mass equality. When you do that, what you have, listen, and Joe knows I talk about this a lot. When you do that, that's called legal despotism.
Yes.
We're basically converting the law into plunder to justify plunder. That's not the basis of stable law that respects the individual uniqueness of all people. And what you're talking about, listen, you said you don't trust the insurance companies. I don't trust the insurance companies. Let me ask you a question. Do you trust Apple? Do you trust Microsoft? Do you trust LG or do you trust Motorola?
No.
We operate
No.
But what?
No.
But what? Hold on. But listen, you're making my
Give
point
me another
now,
one.
But you're making my point. But the reason why
No.
they give us the best product at the lowest possible price, the reason why they have to compete amongst each other for our money is because we are using our own money to buy the best products for us that
Our
we
choice,
want.
our choosing.
We are using the power of the marketplace, voluntary exchange, to dictate to Apple, to Microsoft, to LG the products that we want to see.
I think I see.
And
smoke
that's what
coming
will
this
happen
many
in
years.
insurance if we use the same economic principles. You're right. We haven't done that in 20 years. We haven't done anything like that since the beginning of World War II.
Hey.
And that is why health insurance is the disaster it is today in America. And it
Byron,
will only get
Byron,
worse under
before
this
we
bill.
go to break, let's take a call. Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got for us? Caller, are you there? No caller? I think I hear somebody rustling around back there.
You actually have listeners up this early on Saturday?
Yeah.
morning?
Maybe it was that one
Give us a
guy, but he
call.
hung up. I don't know. Well, I tell you what, we're
Don't hang
gonna let's
up.
take a break. When we get back from break, we're going to continue on with the discussion. 277-9600, 775-9600. We'll be right back.
You never know what we're going to say or do. Take 96K Rock wherever you go with the iRadio Now app.
iRadio Now.
Available for free on all smartphones, including Android. The biggest personalities in radio entertainment. Available on one app.
iRadio Now.
The iRadio Now app for all smartphones.
Just go to the App Store and search iRadio Now and download it for free.
Brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, Coconut Point.
Visit 96krock.com for more information.
iRadio Now.
96K Rock.
Honey, I've got a surprise for you.
Really?
We're going on a cruise. I called Cruise One in the Cape and spoke to Katie Bachman. She hooked us up. We're going first class on the Norwegian Pearl for a 7-night Caribbean cruise getaway.
Man, I'll be relaxing on the deck and sipping on those umbrella drinks.
That's okay for you, honey, but I'll be getting lean and fit. This cruise offers more than 20 hours of personal training fun with Joe Pearson. I'll be learning about nutrition and exercise, and all from a certified personal trainer. It's the best of both worlds. When you cruise Norwegian style, you do more than just eat and drink. You can get in shape and have the time of your life.
This is an exclusive offer for June only. Norwegian Pearl in our Seafit group package for friends and family. So call me and get the skinny details. I'll explain all package and special offers. Life is too short. So get away and enjoy it. Go in style. Norwegian style.
Call Katie at Cruise One on 239-677-3005. That's 239-677-3005. Or visit our website at kbachman.cruiseone.com.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small. Secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2 000046.
When it comes to finding a reliable general contractor, you need to pick someone with a solid background and a good reputation. D Squared Construction gives you all that and more. They are family owned and operated and stand behind every project. Quality workmanship and satisfaction to the customer has made them one of the premier contractors in Southwest Florida since 2004. Small residential renovations to large commercial projects, they do it all. And they do it all well. Your projects are much too important to trust just anyone. D Squared Construction will come to your house or commercial project and give you a free on-site estimate. Call Kevin Dwyer at 239-561-4108. That's 239-561-4108 for a free consultation and some good sound advice. They won't waste your time or your money. D Squared Construction, when it needs to get done right.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. The phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. And check out the live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. With us in studio today, U.S. Congressional Reps Byron Donalds and Joe Davidow. And, guys, we got a couple callers holding on the line. Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got?
This is Mike. I'm from Florida. The problem is not about the right not wanting health care reform for people. The problem is the individual mandate basically tells us what we...
I think we just lost him.
What happened to Mike?
Sick Rick, we just lost Mike.
There was something brilliant coming, too.
Oh, that was great,
he was
too.
good.
Yeah.
Mike, we know it was going to be good, man.
Mike, we apologize.
He was very calm and persuasive
cut
and
you
was going to
off,
give
Mike.
it to
I
Smitty.
did not.
Yeah, it's probably
I'm not even
blame
controlling
Smitty.
the board.
I saw Smitty put his finger on the
you're a
hang-up.
lawyer.
Mike,
You can't
call
be
back.
trusted
Mike,
at all.
call back if you got us. Sick Rick, we got another one on there. Don't hang up on the next one, man. Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty.
Hey, Jay, I had a couple questions for Mr. Donalds. First question is, how many businesses has he owned and operated in his lifetime? And second, why does he keep copying other candidates' fundraising efforts and campaign strategies? I don't understand.
Yeah, Byron. Yeah. How about it now?
Thanks, caller.
That's a great question. First of all, no, I've never owned a business. I've been an employee. I've done economic analysis. I've been I've been Officer of the Year at my bank. I've managed whole departments of credit analysis staff. I've done risk management and financial forecasting in my career. I've not owned a business. Secondly, listen, there's no such thing as copying other campaigns' fundraising ideas. There's nothing new under the sun. Everybody does money bombs. Everybody does fundraisers. I mean, if this is going to be the shenanigans we're going to have in this race to try to separate us, I mean, that just really shows the lack of stature probably of the person he supports.
Hey, Byron, I was, speaking of being an employee, once I was on Drink Station, I was really glad when I got moved up to Fry's. So, I mean, everybody can move up. Yeah. All right, caller, we got another caller on line. Caller, you're on Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. Mike, is that you
Would you
back?
like fries with that shake?
Yes, sir, I'm back.
Sorry about that, Mike. You were starting out, man. Go ahead, buddy.
So basically, the problem is not about us wanting health care reform. We do want it. It's just the method we go about doing it. So with the individual mandate, the federal government can basically tell us to do anything, and now if we don't, we get taxed on it. So if you go to the store and the government tells you to buy bubble gum, now you can get taxed if you don't do that. So for those people that think health care is a right, why aren't they sponsoring us to have firearms for people that can't afford it, since that is a right and it's a lot less expensive?
That's true.
What do you think, guys?
Thanks,
Mike. We appreciate it, buddy.
Mike, but you've completely touched on it, and it's not so much that it's a mandate. You got to remember what the opinion said. That's why I drew the example of the foot race and winning but actually losing. It's been relegated to a tax. There is no other constitutional basis to call this a right. And so, in essence, it's merely become a tax that can be eliminated.
Amen.
It sounds good. It sounds good to tell people, well, we don't want to make you do it because people won't do it. That's why they're making them do it, Joe. People won't do it, just like people drive today with no car insurance. They do it because they don't want to do it.
The purpose of the federal government is not to coerce and compel people to action.
No moral responsibility.
You're missing the purpose.
No, you're missing the point. Before the written law was the word of God, and he law.
Oh, here we go. That's right. All right, let's take another call, Smitty.
That's right.
Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got?
Yes, good morning. I wanted to comment on the individual mandate.
Yes, ma'am.
Originally, that was a Republican idea.
It was from Romney.
It was started in the Heritage Foundation, and it was really about personal responsibility and taking personal responsibility about your own health care, because we wanted to get people out of the emergency room and into a doctor's office where it would bring costs down. And actually, I know many people in the Boston area, and I also know someone who worked on the Mitt Romney campaign to get him elected governor, and that is a very, very popular. You poll that and you talk to anybody in Massachusetts, they like their health care. It's working. There's 100% of children.
Well, and that may be great for Massachusetts, and that's a state's law, but it's way different for the federal government.
I have to comment on something that my dad and my granddad always tell me, was that when Social Security and when Medicare was passed, it was pretty much the same hoopla and outrage, and they called it communism, and they called it the end of the America as we know it, and pretty much the same hoopla that the Tea Party and everything came at. And you know what? It's fine, and it's working, and
all right.
citizens that have
Thanks,
it
caller.
like it.
All right,
Actually,
thanks, caller.
in Massachusetts, it's not working.
Well,
hold on,
explain,
Smitty,
Byron.
let me get into Smitty. Let me get into Smitty.
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
It's working.
It's not working. Here's the problem.
You don't even look into it. You don't even know it's working. You just want to say it's not.
But you guys go, oh, it's not working. No, it's not. No, it's not working. No, it's not working.
Everything works because Smitty says it works.
Hold on, this Chicken Little, the sky's falling. Oh my God. Oh my God.
There's no reason
It's
to
not
get
working.
facts in economics. Smitty says it's working.
I say 50 million's uninsured. You say it's 8. I mean, really? Come on.
Listen.
Even you're a smart guy. It's more than 8
I
million.
know, and I'm going to explain to you why in Massachusetts it's not working.
Go ahead, Byron,
sure.
please.
A year and a half ago, the insurance companies in Massachusetts were going to Deval Patrick and the state legislature to ask for premium increases because under Romney Care, they were not being able to keep their private plans in place. These are nonprofit health insurance companies now, not these for-profit greedy insurance companies. And Deval Patrick said no. So they are starting to cut plans in the private market. And you know where those people are going in Massachusetts? To Medicaid.
Canada.
No. They're going to Medicaid. They're going to Medicaid,
which we have to pay for.
Hold on, and that's what's happening in Massachusetts. The second thing that's happened in Massachusetts is they've had to raise taxes in Massachusetts to cover the plan.
Sure.
Because of exactly what's happening.
They're in major debt for this thing.
If that's happening in Massachusetts, what do you think is going to happen in the nation? The purpose of Obamacare is to have Medicaid for all. Even Jan Schakowsky, Democrat of Illinois, has said this is just a step until single-payer health care.
If you're
that's
right,
the design of the law. Now, but hold, I got a lot more. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Let me get to this one. Let me get to this one.
Go ahead.
You go ahead because you made me forget.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that if that's true, how can you back a guy named Romney who created the whole thing?
I'm sorry.
Thanks for reminding him.
I'm trying to help you out, man. I'm the guard. I'll pitch it to you.
I'm 33 years old. I'm a conservative. I could care less what Republicans supported the individual mandate. The purpose of federal law is not to coerce and compel behavior of the American citizenry.
Don't dodge the question. That's your guy who you're going to vote for.
That's
you
the
voted for
answer.
Romney. He created the whole thing. And then you're going, oh, well, I don't care. I don't care now.
I don't care who proposed it. I have always been opposed to the individual mandate. Listen, when they talked about this at Heritage, I was 22 years old. I was in college. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Probably didn't know what it was.
Listen, let me ask you a question, Smitty. You're a Democrat. You're a liberal.
I'm not, really.
Okay, but you're a liberal.
I'm an independent.
You're a liberal. Okay, let me check this out. Are you based upon whatever Barack Obama says? Are you now compelled to think and to be behind anything that he says for all time? Because I can come out and say, oh well, Barack Obama said it, so that means Smitty, you have to.
No, absolutely. I'm a free thinker.
Why would you?
I'm a free thinker.
Am I not a free thinker?
Absolutely, and you got a heck of a vocabulary.
So then why are you saying? that? Oh, because I'm a Republican.
Philanthropist.
Or why is it that other people say that because I'm a Republican, the Republicans did it before, so that means all Republicans for all time now support it? That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, and remember this, Byron. That, they may have brought it up at Heritage, but they realized that was a stupid idea. Well, they realized it wasn't going to work.
I mean, here again,
it's better than what we had.
No, Smitty, the implications of this health care bill have absolutely nothing to do with health care. If they did, we would have went for a single-payer system. By Heritage, read the report.
Would you support that?
I don't think it's a good idea on a federal level. That's my problem.
What health care do you support? What do you support as far as health care?
Let me finish.
Is there any system? Is there any system, Joe, that you would say I would lean this way as opposed to saying let's just keep it like it is?
Why don't we discuss the pros at the end of what the conservative base can bring?
Well, this is all I wanted to try to get back to. Now, Smitty, you've jarred me off of what I was making.
He
my
does
point
that, man.
Here, is that
Heritage
came out as a single payer. The purpose, if it was going to work, that's how it would work. Now, here's what it comes down to. Very simple, is right. This has nothing to do with the quality of your health care. What this had to do with was systematically change the economic principles and the basis of this country by saying and designing it to someone's health. Because when you break down the costs that will be passed to an employer, when you hire somebody at $7.25 an hour, if they have a family, the employer has to pay out the equivalent of like $13.75. So now your question is, as the employer, which I run my own business, your question is simply this: is that guy bringing me $14 an hour or more, and therefore is he making any money for the company? And the answer is no, or otherwise you wouldn't have hired him at
If it was that simple, Joe, it would be a simple answer, yes or no. But we're paying for it anyway because nobody's insured, Joe. That's the problem. That's the seed. People are out there that are uninsured right now, and we are paying for it. Everybody is.
It hurts the little guy, and you know what?
It hurts everybody, Joe.
He is a champion.
It hurts everybody. It's not cheap, and you got to man up and pay out.
Smitty, you've asked what would these guys support? Right? We've got a few minutes left. Joe, tell it
real quick. Byron's touched on it, and it's very simple.
There's a few good principles, right?
Single payer?
No. Get the government out of the way. You have to go back to the private industry, and what you say is very simple, right?
You like mandates? Is that what you said?
No. You open up the lines for insurance so that insurance can sell nationwide, and then the next thing I would do
as opposed to state only, right?
Then insurance,
because when you sell in state only, you have no competition
at all. No. So you open it up so that insurance companies can make insurance statewide, and then you have to create the conversation so that the doctor has more power in the negotiation table, so that when the patient comes in, they talk to the doctor about the procedure and see if they can afford it first. Not just go ahead, doc, do it, and let's pass the cost on to somebody else.
Well, they're doing it now.
One thing me and Smitty talked about, and I want to let Byron get in just real quick, is we did mention earlier in this week we were having a conversation about this, and it does seem to us sometimes that the insurance carriers are the ones that set a lot of the prices, and if you look way back before health insurance was there, we didn't have those issues. I mean, you had somebody go to the doctor. They might have had to trade a goat to get some kind of service, or they paid $20 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It used to work back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It was working great. Why we had to change it, I don't know. But when I was a kid growing up, and probably when you was a younger man, you used to have health insurance cards. You go in and everything was taken care of. You didn't have all this problem. That's all. Whatever happened to where it used to work, it used to work. I don't know what happened from then to now, but it ain't working now, and somebody's got to make a change, and they did, 5-4.
Byron, go ahead and get in here, buddy.
All right, listen, you have to get businesses out of the business of providing health insurance. You have to have people buy it with their own money. You talked about how it worked in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. That's because people were buying it with their own money more then than they do today. Now everybody has employer.
It was affordable.
Everybody, you said it yourself. You're proving my point for me. The reason why it was affordable is because
you're coming around to my way.
More people were buying it with their own money. You cannot have single payer. You cannot have these grand designs like Obamacare. Even employer-funded health care and Medicaid are failing us today because people are not using their own money to find the best product at the lowest possible price. It will always be that simple. You cannot get away from those basic economic truths. It's not just singular to healthcare. It's any product. It's Scotch tape. If the government was providing Scotch tape to us, this stuff wouldn't even be sticky enough to do anything. Companies, it would be a disaster because the quality would go down.
On both sides.
Insurance companies are still the problem, I think.
The insurance companies are only the problem because we don't have an innovative marketplace, and they know they don't have to compete.
Well, you know what? This is going to force us to have an innovative marketplace. The insurance companies don't have to compete.
They know they're only going to go to 10 businesses to get their money anyway. So what do they care what your individual needs are, Smitty? Because they're not dealing with you. They're dealing with K-Rock or they're dealing with the federal government.
Well, that's the problem. If I have a problem, I'll hire Joe to be my lawyer.
All right.
All right, guys. Listen, we want to give just a quick last plug. We got Byron Donalds in studio, Joe Davidow in studio.
Go to the web pages and see what they stand
for. Both running for U.S. Congress for district. Was it 19?
19 now.
And Joe, what's the website people can go to support you?
It's Joe Davidow for Congress.com, JoeDavidowfor Congress, CONGRESS.com, Joe Davidow for Congress.
Very nice. Byron, how about for yourself, buddy?
ByronDonalds.com, ByronDonalds.com. Thanks
awesome.
so much, guys.
Hey, everybody. Have a great week. We'll be back next week.